one of the most important skills that a product manager should have, judging by what you read about product management, are the communication skills. And they are important if you look at those, or if you read all of the things that they are written about product management. It's important because you as a product manager need to understand and work with many stakeholders and end users and developers and designers and marketing all across. I think working on an internal product, you are always in the position that you're dependent on other people in the company that are not stakeholders, but they are not users, but they are influencers on the outcome of the product that you work on. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are Uber, and your product is, or your feature that you're working is the feature on the driver's app that will ask them to fill a bunch of questions, or ask the user to fill a bunch of questions, or 4 questions, before even asking the payment. I know, it's not that good of a product. That's what I could think about. Now, if you look at it, the stakeholders of this product are the business team and the customer success team that want to uplift the experience that the customers have by asking them questions or by elevating the awareness of drivers of something. These are the stakeholders. The users are the drivers themselves, and if you have a part that is calling out to the customers, then the customers are users too. But what about the dispatchers? The people that work with the drivers to help them through the day to get more drives going through and finishing nicely. They're not stakeholders in this issue, and they are not users. And putting it into the mix for economics way of thinking, you can say, okay, just ask them if a dispatcher can bypass that process of asking, of the driver needs to ask the customer for something before he can finish the job or anything, and if he doesn't get paid. But if you give the dispatcher the tool to bypass that, but you ask them not to do it before they ask the driver, before they understand with the driver why can't he finish the drive as we intended him to do. The dispatcher would most likely won't do it. And why won't they do it? Because of Freakonomics. And Freakonomics say that it doesn't matter what you think the incentives are of any player in any system. It doesn't matter if it's economical or not. If you don't understand the real incentive of a player, you won't understand his behavior. And in our case, the most important incentive for the dispatcher is to get more drives, more requests finished in time and with payment. And even if you put a KPI on it that says that customer satisfaction is an issue for them, then you're also moving against your need for their cooperation on this feature, because if customer success or customer satisfaction is in their KPIs, what they want to do is to get the customer out as quickly as they can. So that's a very important skill for a product manager, to use the dispatchers and to understand what would make the dispatchers be your partner. How can you make them work against their incentives just because you need their help, nothing else? You know that what you're doing will move the needle business-wise, but that's not an incentive for them, and let me tell you a secret, it's not an incentive for you. Your incentive is to get the best product out. I know that when I'm developing or thinking or scoping or anything about a product, I'm always thinking about what effect will it do. Does it move the needle? But that's not your incentive. Your incentive at the moment is to test that product. And if you're not testing it, you're failing your incentive. But their incentive is against your incentive, and you're both working for the same company with the same goal in mind, to get more business in, to flourish the company, to move the needle. And now I'm facing with this issue. I need the cooperation of players in our internal ecosystem that their best interest is not to help me. And now I need to understand how I can make them a partner. I have two options. One is by enforcing them. Two is by horning them, by harnessing them to this effort. And although I've tried to do the harnessing, I can see now that we need to be more vigilant about enforcing them to help us, because we're working on something that will help the business, but will slow the flow of our partner users, and of the dispatchers in our case. And it's really hard, and that's a challenge, and that's a focus I'm working on, how to make it happen, not to add it to their incentive. It's not their incentive, it will never be. Even if it's a KPI, it's a contradicting KPI, and it won't work. But although it's a contradicting KPI to what their other incentives are, still get them to help me.